Today's tiny house vlog is starting in the tiny house loft. Today's gonna be a bit of a slow construction day. The Lowe's delivery guy is not gonna be coming here until the afternoon, and there's stuff on that delivery truck that I need right now in order to do some of the things that I want to do, but I have to wait till he comes here. There are a few things that I can do in the meantime, and I will show you guys that stuff at the end of this clip. But in the meantime, what I want to talk about is this idea of I can do it too. Something that I've internalized as a belief from a very young age is that if I could see somebody else do something, it could be anything. It could be riding your bike across the country or like going on a super scary roller coaster. If I could see somebody else do it, then I would be like, if that person can do it, that means I can do it too. This is something that I've always used to reaffirm to myself that if I have seen somebody else do it, then that means I can do it as well. I think that is such an important belief to instill in yourself. And that's something that you can just keep telling yourself. If I can see somebody else do it, that means I can do it as well. Maybe I have to learn some new skills, maybe I have to put more time and effort into it, but if I do all those necessary steps, that means that I can do it as well. It is no different with this tiny house. Do you think I knew how to build a structure like this when I first started working on this house? No, I did not really know a lot of what I was doing. But I knew that I'd be able to figure it out because I knew that if all these other people that have posted tiny house vlogs and blogs on their website and stuff, and I'm like, if these people can figure it out, there is no reason why I can't figure it out as well. So it's so important to get into this mentality of I can do it too. So instilling this belief of I can do it too is, I think, really, really important. It gets you out of your comfort zone. It gets you learning. It gets you creating. It gets you to actually start doing new stuff in your life and learning stuff and going out there and not doing the exact same thing that you always do. When you start doing new things, you learn and you grow as a person, as a human being. You gain these new experiences that you didn't have before. I think that is such an important part of life, is like growing and learning, expanding. And with these vlogs and these videos that we're posting on Life Inside a Box, is I want you to be like, wow, Derek built a freaking house, tiny house from scratch. He's never done this before in his life, but he figured it out. Maybe there's a project in my life that I can be like, well, you know what, I could probably do that too. If D-Man can figure out how to build a house, I can do X, Y, Z. I've learned so much about building construction, which I think is definitely a very valuable skill. I've learned so much from just getting to this point in this tiny house so far. And there is still so much more work to do. But it's so important to start telling yourself, instead of saying, I can't do that, you want to start telling yourself, I can do that too. That is such a more powerful, enriching way to live, instead of always being somebody who's always watching. I can't stand watching sports. I'd rather go and play sports. I can't stand being a spectator, like in my life. I have to go out and do it. I don't like watching other people do it because I want to be doing it myself and get those experiences from the actual doing of it. So I hope these videos act as like a catalyst, something that's very inspiring to help you kind of like push through some barriers and start telling yourself, I can do it too. So I'm really gonna focus a lot of my time on Life Inside a Box. I just started up a Snapchat so you can add me, Life Inside a Box. I changed my Instagram name from Unconventional Living to Life Inside a Box. I think this is such an important topic to be talking about, getting people actually doing and living their life as opposed to spectating as a bystander. So I'll leave all my social media links down below. Hit me up. I'm gonna be posting daily content across all those platforms, and you'll be getting even more behind the scenes inspiration. So I hope that helps. And I'm gonna start doing a few things around this place, and I'll show you what I'm doing. All right, so I just used my knife just to cut out the home wrap around the wheel well here. So this is really like an awkward spot to try to weatherproof the house is around the wheel well here. The trailers that are built specifically for a tiny house, they actually have like a, basically like a steel lip that follows the contour of the wheel well all the way around. Then I think that you put the sheathing right up next to it, so water, if it goes under the sheathing, it can't get into the structure because it would have to go like up this lip that's maybe like an inch high. So what I'm gonna do, since I don't have that luxury, is I'm gonna take this, what I have left over of the steel flashing that I use on the underside of the trailer, is I'm gonna cut a strip, maybe it'll only be about 3 or 4 inches wide. I'm gonna follow the contour of the wheel well, and I'm gonna create like a 90-degree bend in the corner. And then around the corners, I'll just have to snip it so that it can bend properly. Then there will be a small lip here, which looks to be maybe about 3/4 of an inch or so. I'll screw it to the sheathing, and then from there, what I can do is I can caulk over the top, and then also caulk the bottom of it so that it creates a pretty decent weather-tight seal. So if any water is gonna come down, it's gonna go over the caulking, go over the flashing, and then come down on this side of the wheel well, hopefully. So this method of flashing around the wheel well, it's not something that I just randomly came up with. Something that Dan Luce uses. He runs the website Tiny Home Builders. So I think it should be all right. So this is actually the piece of flashing that totally cut my leg up here. So I kind of don't really like this piece of flashing very much, even though it's partly my fault. I don't really like it. So I'm gonna use this piece of siding vent in order to get a line to cut on. So yesterday when the guy dropped off the metal roof, he dropped off some of these little, these are like little jigs or tools in order to put some of the bends in the panels for the roof. And I was like, this is like the perfect size to make the lip that goes around the wheel well there. So I just put a 90-degree bend in this, and this is like perfect. So just gonna show you how I did this. So this is totally random. This is a custom-made tool. So it's not something that you can just go down to the hardware store and get, but this is gonna work really well for this job. You just fit the metal into the jig there, bend it over, and then I'm just gonna take my hammer and just slightly tap just to kind of give it like a really, really good 90-degree bend. And there we go. This is gonna make this way easier. Alright, looks good. Alright, so this piece fits perfectly in terms of the depth of this lip here. So I'm just gonna throw a few nails to hold this in place. Alright, so now for the angles here, all I'm going to do is just make a cut down here. And we should be able to bend this down. Just like that. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill up the gap between the wheel well and this flashing with caulking. And then I think on the top here, what I'll just use is I'll just use some of the Tyvek tape and just tape over top of it. So as moisture rolls its way down, it'll roll on top of the flashing and then out of the house, I guess, like that. I wanted to keep the flashing over top of the home wrap. Normally, with this type of drainage system, normally, like if you're trying to drain away over the home wrap, you put this under the home wrap. But if water somehow gets underneath the flashing here. At least it isn't bare sheathing back there. There is some home wrap there. So this, along with the rain screen on top, I think it'll keep things nice and ventilated there, and I think this will do the job. In these little gaps right here, I'll just run a bead of caulking all the way in there, and then I think that'll be a really, really good tight seal for that wheel well there. So we got the 12 windows, we got the door, so we got all that stuff. I got the extension ladder and some of the other doodads and knickknacks that I need to continue on for construction. So the next couple of weeks are gonna be huge. The roof's gonna be on, the windows are gonna be on, we're gonna start the siding, so it's gonna be an epic next few weeks. All right, I'm gonna call this the end of today's vlog. See you guys on the next video. Talk to you soon. Peace.